Hi, I'm Rick Harsh, as I've been most of my life, as far as I know. Uh, any nom de hijinks went on before I was of an age to understand, to reason. Like say somewhere around 37, I think I reached that. Same year, I got my case of restless leg syndrome, which plagues me to this day. But we're not here to talk about plagues, and especially not about my problems. We're here to, well, actually, we are here to talk about my most important and serious problem running Corona Samizdat. I'm going to make a big change um, of sorts. I'm actually going to make an appeal for donations. It's something that I've never wanted to do. I don't like putting readers in the in the category of investor. Well, they're not even investors. It's a donation is a donation, and I think it's the worst time in the world. And that's always a good time to do something. I started this at the very beginning of the crisis stage of Corona Samizdat, or Corona, sorry, Corona Samizdat is not in crisis. Here's the story. I made it up last night. What was I saying? No, that's not. It's not true. It's not true. It's really hot here in the northern Mediterranean. It's actually Mediterranean. Um, I think we probably get weather like the southern Mediterranean, um, maybe 30 days less than Oran per year. That's Oran, so don't go looking for teams of Oranians, okay? Iranians. Can you say it? How many goddamn pundits cannot say Iran, Iraq? It's not so hard. You don't have to go Iraq like I just did because I'm holier than thou. No, I'm just saying Iran, Iraq. It's not so fucking hard. If your name was Schwanson and not Swanson, you'd say, no, it's Schwanson, like with Schwanz. That's what you would say. You'd correct people and say, can't you just learn one name? I remember when I first started teaching here, I had a student named Simone. And when I asked him, I saw the name and I said his last name first, and so who are you? And he said, Simon. And I said, Simon? Simon? No, this is Slovenia. Nobody names their kid Simon. What does your mother call you? He says, Simon. I said, well, then your fucking name is Simon. Now, I don't mean to get all worked up, especially when I should be polite because I'm appealing to I'm not appealing to any one person or to any. I'm appealing to people who would like to donate to a small press, and or their rich uncles or anything. I if you asked me to donate to a press right now and I didn't run a press, I would say, shit, I don't think I have that kind of money. And yet, the truth is, the first big donation will be from me because, well, for one thing, I never take my royalties. So over time, with all the books I have and the sales and so on, that's a kind of donation, but that's a very common one. A lot of us writers are of age and plus, and the 100 euros in royalties that accrue over, if that's what royalties do, I don't know. Accrue of royalties. No, that's wrong. It's a crew of, what forms it? A crew of sea turtles. Yeah, a crew of sea turtles. Well, they accrue. And a lot of the writers just say, give it to so-and-so, or keep it. Really a bunch of generous guys. And for some reason, I can only see Canadians right now. And it's not fair because they're one of our one person who really would benefit from getting his royalties because it's not insignificant. 100 euros isn't insignificant either. But one took a royalty break, and he said, "Okay, what just you don't have to give me that," and it was a very nice gesture. It was very difficult for me to say yes, but eventually I did. But then I wrote down the date, said, "Okay, this period you've donated," and so there have been donations. At least on 2 occasions, someone has supported a book. So what we're going to do is we're going to list the books. The reason I'm doing this now is because we're in a weird sort of sideways spiral. We have the Stickley's book, A Bended Circuity, is on pre-order, but we can't function if we just set aside all those and even I couldn't function mathematically, organizationally. I could not keep all the Stickley aside just for Stickley. We need to keep producing books, because I looked at it last year. We had very bad sales starting mid-January, and it picked up again maybe in November or December. But throughout the year, I think we published 3 books, but I don't think more than 2 new ones. This year we introduced the micro line, and although they're not selling like what sells? Shortcakes? Micro cakes, yeah. They're not selling like micro cakes, but they will eventually. I've had several people say, I got to get all of those. Why? Because of the Penguin Classics notion. But they're also going to include Wade, yeah. We have some desperado problem here. We need to get Wade Gavin, W. Gavin, I guess to you, back in print, and for more than one reason. He's red hot in Hobart. There's a store in Hobart that sells Corona Samizdat books, and we have a kind of we just try to make it. I think last time I asked the guy to pay for post, and then I just gave him books, and he ran out. And now he said, I don't know, he maybe slightly uncomfortable with the free nature, and I could say, sure, how can we do this to make it work for both of us? He pays for the next round. He will pay for the post and €2 a book. I think that's our agreement. And I need to send the Australian Wade Gavin. There's some serious interest there. And Wade Gavin's book, Wailing Madness, Shame and Death, really got hot right when I was surprised that we ran out. Why did we run out? Because I was giving away free books, and by the time we had sold about 60 out of 100 of Wailing Madness, Shame and Death, I had given away 40, roughly. The thing about giving away books is it's intoxicating. I love it. I just love, surprise me. When they say surprise me, when you guys say surprise me, I'm like, yeah, I'll surprise you, all right. Rick's. No, I don't do that. But books that aren't selling a lot, and so like you have someone like Jeff Bursey, who's had one of the first Corona Samizdat classics, The Unidentified Man That Left a Photo. It's just kind of a small book, and so it wasn't selling all that great. Maybe some periods. It has ultimately sold pretty many, but I start throwing it in free on a regular basis, and next thing you know, it's red hot again. Same thing happens with Bill Clark. I don't know how the Canadians are doing it. I just today filled an order where I sold Tim Conley, and we've got another book of his coming out. So anyway, back to the point of people buy actually Jeff Bursey's first book was supported by the funds from a private person, and I think we must have forgotten to recognize him, and so we recognized him for Jeff's book of short stories, An Impalpable Certain Rest, and so yeah, he did get acknowledged eventually. I got a donation of 100 euros this year, and I just chose a book, and I said, with the help of Robert Armagost. And, there's one other book, Randall Eldon Green's book is coming out, and it's a book of short stories, and I haven't seen a word of it yet, so I'm really looking forward to having it in print. It's at the printer now. Mark Douglas's poetry at the printer now. Gargi Barua, you don't know her, you will. Hopefully, she blesses us with another book in the future. But we've got a really, I loved it, a short one, perfect for microline. But Wade is going to be the first microline CT class, or Corona Summit, CS Classic. And what we're going to do, we have here our logo, the hand putting in or taking out the book. It's hard to see, but, that makes it easier when I do that. The CT Classic will say CT Classic on the top, and underneath will be the profile of a fox terrier. And that'll be our, so maybe it'll be a little cluttered, but what the hell? Everybody loves the profile of a fox terrier. Isn't there a Scotch with Scotch terriers? Black and white? Something black and white. I don't know. I remember that from my childhood. Yes, I was a childhood alcoholic. So, if you know people who want to give money to, we've got, so the crisis is this. We've got to save for Stickley. And what if it keeps going the way it's going, we will probably have to say at the beginning of September, say, all right, that's it. All hands on deck. We've got to sell books. We've got to sell, and everything we sell goes for the Stickley. 200 copies in 6 months. I had to do a pre-order last year, and when I got the books, I sold within 6 months all 200. It's a big chunk of money for a feller like me, or a small press like me, or a small presser like me, or a depressed person like me, to come up with a big. Let's see. I'll tell it to you in euros. 200 copies of Stickley are somewhere around 1,500 euros, and to give you an idea of how sales can go, this month has not been a great or terrible month, but it looks like today's the last day, so the sales will be 1,150 some. So that would take 2 months, to pay for the Stickley, something like that. We would order more, but then you got to have that big chunk of money to pay the printer, and it's cheaper per book when we do that. We might do that with Philip Friedenberg's book, which is coming out this year sometime, and we have to do a pre-order because it's going to be 300. It might be an extra. I'm not sure that we'll be able to print it in the usual size. We might have to have a bigger book. But, it's sui generis. I started saying that just recently because I only learned the word a few months ago. Yeah. You think I know my words? Yeah, okay. So, anyway, these are, look, the beautiful artwork on this alone. But it's also, I think, one of my top 3 books. I don't think it's as good as, overall, the bulk and comedy lawyers. Bulk and comedy. Yeah, okay. The bulk and comedy of the Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas. I think it, I should put it up there, but, Olaf and this, I think, are very close behind in their ties. Now, David Vardaman, we've got to get his book Easter into a separate microline book. This is one that it's called Feast of the Assumption. It's the most camp of the Vardamans. and but it's got great artwork. A local Ukrainian. Does that make sense? A local Ukrainian. Well, she's local. She's Ukrainian. Yeah, she does the best rabbit art in the world, and we're gonna have a book by her coming out. I thought it would be by now, but um, we're just, you know, we're basically struggling. We're struggling. Oh, speaking of donations, Zach Tanner. If you look at some of his best covers, okay, oh, I rearranged the books. I don't have many of ours out here. Zach Tanner, the work he did on the Broussard books, all of them. I don't know if we paid him anything for those. He was kind of donating his time. I didn't look at it that way at the time. I looked at him as a collaborator and a partner. But, you know, at some point, I don't think he said a word to me, but at some point I said, you know, we should probably be paying you for this. He did some terrific covers, and he does the typesetting, and without Zach, there's no Corona Samizdat. But in effect, he donated his time for years. I don't know how long really, but years. But now, you know, we pay Zach. I think you'd call it a pittance. I call it a hell of a burden, but it could be a pittance and a burden. You know, I mean, imagine if pittances had wings. It'd be a hell of a burden. So then we have Segrov. This one, to me, is an absolute masterpiece. Very original mind writing in English. I think he wrote in Spanish, but he translated into English, and I was, you know, there to work on the English and get it to the best level I could. And I think I made 3 very minor changes at most, because he was like he was in a zone, and so Decreation by Roberto Segrov, Feast of the Assumption by David Vardaman. Good-looking books. Good-looking books. Look at what's going on there in the closet. You know, I don't know. And the rabbits. And look, you know, the great thing about this, Arkapravo Baumik of Kolkata did this. This is a character in the book, and he really captured him, gave him personality, and then this is kind of an overall thing. I'm just in love with this and the microlines in general. So what we've got coming up, 2 flip books, and one is by Chase Griffin. Actually, 2 is by Chase Griffin because it's a flip book. Like the Vardaman, we've got a lot of these left, and these, if you haven't read the Vardaman varying length novellas, this is just something. It's a treat, and we've got a lot of them left. They haven't sold well. We've also got a flip book by Roberto Ontiveros coming out, and you know that's 2 novels in one, and a flip book by Alex Kudera. I think that's his name. I mean, we've talked many times, and he's very funny. Ask Bill Clark, our resident quality seeker. He's a guy who knew Gary Amdahl or met Gary Amdahl, and you know, very persuasively convinces people that Gary Amdahl is a diamond in the rough. A diamond in the rough. That's a Minnesota accent. He's from Minnesota. We got Prison Mars by Lauren Fairbanks, who's one of those writers you're going to want to eventually, if you keep your books, and unlike me, you lose them, give them away, whatever, you're going to want to have all of the works of Lauren Fairbanks. Someday, people are going to come down from the planet where we put the critics until they learn to cooperate and think right. And you're going to come down from that planet, and you're going to say, hey, what do you got by Lauren Fairbanks? You know, there's that one that was published by that obscure press. Yeah, Corona Samsa. Yeah, I got it. Prison Mars. Great stuff. I've got a whole box of these that I haven't opened. And then, okay, this is going to be a burden someday because we're going to have to reprint these. I don't know how many I printed at first, but this is this is my triumph. Yes. And like a life's goal. If the press blew up tomorrow, I would say, yeah, well, at least we got the full Arlt in print. I love this local guy from Piran, one of the fine towns, one of the finest towns on the Slovene coast, the finest town on the Slovene coast in terms of beauty. He did this. This is, well, the cooperation, by a Brechtian team. And then you got this extraordinary piece of work by Zach Tanner. It's going to have 3 volumes, and I've read this one, and it's just, it's not overtly innovative, but it's invertly going to be, and it's just really, really great writing, and it's, I don't know. It seems like it's very easy for him. I don't know, but I don't know what even that means. But these are books that we have. We've got a lot of books left, of a lot of kinds, and so let's buy some books by Corona Samstat. And if you hadn't, spread the word that we're taking donations now, so that we can bring more books out. I think I'm gonna work with Zach on a list of books that we can print, and we'll describe or at least name the books that are coming out. We've got a book by a Portuguese guy writing in English that's written in sort of 17th century language. It's called Kate, and it's about China, and it's really some very fascinating stuff. We got a book by X, which is 2 people who go by X, and very innovative stuff. We've got R.G. Vasicek, I will call him. He's got a book. There are others. I mean, I just don't write them all down. And I just heard from Tim Conley yesterday, and he said, "So have you read my book yet?" or something like that, or what I imagine you're busy, that kind of thing. Very polite, thing. And I thought, well, I'll tell the truth. Tim, I forgot completely. And the reason I forgot is because his book of short stories is extremely good. It's top of the line. And another book of short stories by him, yeah, we want it, and we will publish it as soon as we can, because he doesn't need an editor, he's a writer. He doesn't need help. Maybe a friend can help him proofread it or something, but I don't want to read it now. I want to read it when it's printed. It's absolutely going to be extremely worthwhile. We've got 2 or 3 other Indians besides Gargi Barua who have been waiting a long time, and it's just the nature of this game. The reason we will never die out is because we don't go into debt. We don't print if we don't have the money. And about donations, I'm making the first one. I get a tax return in at the end of the month, and it's about time for a new laptop. I don't have a laptop, but in order to have a more versatile circumstance, I was thinking I really should get a laptop for the the organization. Also for the film, keep the film here and be organized, and and then I thought, know what? Know what? You know what? We're gonna be doing an interesting thing in as soon as possible. Actually, we're working on it now. Sasha, our film guy, has done or is doing. We filmed Dirk Hulstrunk, loop poet from Frankfurt. He visited here and he performed here and talked here and walked here. And Sasha's going to put together a very nice video, and that'll be sold for, I'm not sure. We're going to sell the book of poetry and then also the DVD. Probably the total will be 15. Can you buy one and not the other? Probably. We have to figure it out. We have to buy a Blu-ray machine this week, I'm told. So we're going to be down to zero as soon as well, I'm going to be paying for 3 books that are at the printer. I can't remember everything that I wanted to say that's coming out, but the truth is, I'm not in a position to say no to anything, and in terms of funds, if it was just for me, I've got 2 books out of print. Skulls of Istria needs to be brought in as a microline book, and there's a correction that irritates me. It's on the first page, and I have to put errata page in, and and we're going to bring out the Driftless trilogy as a large book, which makes a lot of sense. I can't remember whose idea it was. Let's call it Zach's ideas. It all falls down to Zach. Okay, so anyway, that's the story, and if I come off as a beggar, just give me a pittance without wings. You people are the kind that pluck the wings off a pittance. Bye-bye.